This video is intended to help ESC4C students set up a computing environment. This video will focus on creating an Ubuntu version 16 virtual machine with the assumption that Oracle's VirtualBox has already been installed. As you can see by this diagram, the outside box here represents a physical computer running a Windows 10 operating system. Within that computer, there are several components that we'll be installing for the ESC4C course. And right now we're focused on the Ubuntu version 16 virtual machine. There's a few steps to accomplish this, and if you've run through the CentOS 7 video, the steps are going to be very similar. First, we go out to the website and download the ISO file. Second, we create the infrastructure or the hardware for the virtual machine. And finally, we create the platform or install the operating system. So let's move back to step 1, and we'll go out to the website. Here we see the latest version of Ubuntu is version 18. For the course, I use version 16. So in order to see previous versions, you can click down here and see our alternate downloads. Now it's always best to, from a security standpoint, to use the latest version, but if you wanted to use the version that was used in developing the course materials, then I would recommend version 16 and upgrade later after the course. Okay, so if you scroll down, if you clicked on that link and scroll down, you can see the different versions that are available, and here's version 16 desktop 64-bit. Now this is a big file, over 1.5 gig. So I'm not going to take the video time again to watch that download. I've already downloaded that in my downloads directory, and you can see that here. So once we have the file downloaded, the next step is to build the infrastructure, and to do that, we'll go over to VirtualBox. So first step, get that ISO downloaded. It'll take a while. And then we want to go to VirtualBox. Now to create a new virtual machine, we click the New button here. Okay, one thing I don't think I mentioned in the last video was there's two modes. There's the guided mode and the expert mode. I'm going to go through the expert mode because it's just a little simpler. So here, the first thing we need to do, and really all we need to do, is type in a name for our virtual machine. I'm going to call it Ubuntu 16. And as we typed, you can see that these values down here changed and they matched with what our virtual machine is being called. So all these values here, they're pre-selected or preset, and they will be fine for the purposes of this course. If you're using the virtual machine for other purposes, you may want to modify these values. So once you enter the name, click Create. And it's just asking us to create a virtual hard disk, so we're going to create. Okay, the next step is to load the DVD ISO file in the DVD tray, in the virtual tray. So what we need to do first is make sure that Ubuntu 16 is selected, go to Settings, down to Storage, and again hover over this first icon up here. It says Add Optical Disk, click that. That simulates your DVD player, so we're going to go out and choose the DVD disk, which in this case is the Ubuntu 16 desktop ISO. Open, click OK. And so at this point we have the ISO installation disk loaded and ready to go. So the final step is to start up the machine and run through the installation instructions or the installation wizard for Ubuntu. Click Start and the wizard will come up shortly. Again, if you get any of these little messages up here, you can close them out. After a few seconds, you'll see a screen like this. You can also close out these messages. A minute or so later, you'll see this screen which asks you to select a language. So English is fine with me over here, and then you click the Install Ubuntu button. This step, it's a good idea to download updates while it's installing, so click this button. I'm not going to install third-party software at this point. That can be done later. Now you can click Continue. Now this warning message is a little scary. It says it will delete your programs, documents, photos, music, and all files in the operating system. But it's not as scary as you think. This is talking about the hard disk and the operating system of your virtual machine, Ubuntu. This is not your physical computer. If you wanted to install this on your physical computer, then yes, this would delete everything on your hard drive and remove your operating system. But in this case, we're working in a virtual world, in our virtual, in the infrastructure that we created, and so this is only going to affect that virtual machine. So you can leave this selected and click Install Now. And we'll ask you to confirm, write the changes to disk. You can click Continue. You will be asked your geographic location. You can select the region you're in, click Continue, and then you'll come to this keyboard layout. I'll expand this window so you can see the full screen and see the Continue button. So again, English is okay, and I'll click Continue. For the most part, the pre-selected values will work for the purposes of this course. Enter in a username. I'm going to enter Derek. And as I type that, it pre-populated some of these fields, and it chose a username of Derek, and then it asked for a password. Go ahead and type in a password here, and remember that. It'll be used for logging in. And require my password to log in, that's fine. Keep that selected and click Continue. Okay, here you'll see that the operating system has begun the installation process, and this could take a while, 10, 15, maybe even more minutes. So I'm going to pause the video, and when it gets to the Restart Now screen, I'll pick up and continue. You will see screens like this as it proceeds through the installation process. After 15 or 20 minutes of installation, you'll see the Restart button. So go ahead and click Restart Now. Now this is an important step. You see the message down here. It says, please remove the installation medium, then press Enter. Now this is a virtual machine, so there really is no media in the DVD tray, but it thinks there's it's warning you to remove the DVD had you been doing this installation on a physical machine. So go ahead and just click Enter or hit the Enter key, and then it will continue on. And when the reboot process is complete, you'll see that you're in a graphical user interface or a GUI display. The reboot process is complete now, and it's asking us for our login credentials. It defaulted to the username that we created, so now I just have to enter in the password. Hit the Enter key and you'll be logged in. So there's quite a bit of functionality already built into your Ubuntu desktop. Here is your web browser, it's Firefox, and again here's some applications such as a word processor, a spreadsheet, and then Impress is like a PowerPoint type slideshow application. And so that about does it, but let me go up here and I'll click. This is similar to the Windows Start button, and if you type in terminal, you'll see here that a terminal window is available, and if you click on that, you'll actually come up with a command line interface. So if you recall from the last video when we were installing CentOS 7, we did something like ID, which showed us who we were logged in as. We could do a print working directory to show us our current working directory, and a ls to show what's actually in that directory. So I think that should do it for now. At this point, you have 2 Linux distributions to work with, or 2 Linux virtual machines. And the reason we're installing 2 different versions of Linux is because there are slight differences between Red Hat type distributions and Ubuntu type distributions. This gives us the ability to point those differences out and practice the skills in both environments. So that should complete this video, and thank you for watching.